Hey, welcome to the Happy Rant podcast. I am Ted Cluck, joined as always in studio by my good friends, my partners in radio, Barnabas Piper and Ronald J. Martin. Boys, none of us want to do this morning. We are in a 30-minute window in which Ronald isn't traveling and I don't have to be anywhere, and I think everybody's a little cranky this morning. So
I mean, it's Monday at 8 a.m. Of all the times to do this, we didn't pick the most energized.
Monday at 8 a.m. It's been raining for 20 days straight where Piper and I live. I don't know what it's like up in Ashland, but
I mean, just that times like double the time.
Double the time, like half the temperature probably. But baby, it's always cozy in Warehouse Church. And I heard Pipe found like the dining out equivalent of Warehouse Church for your wife down here in Nashville. So Nashville,
that's what I heard.
Nashville is nothing if not filthy with like both warehouse churches and restaurants that feel like warehouse churches. So
yeah, when you're a southern industrial city, there's a lot of warehouses to be turned into other things. So yes, lots of restaurants and the occasional church as well. So yeah. Melissa asked for restaurant recommendations, and I sent them to Pinewood Social. Her reply was, "Oh, this is like if Substance was a restaurant. It's perfect." So
nice. Always branding.
Good.
Always branding.
Did you guys watch the Oscars last night?
I didn't. I was actually, check this out, boys. You'll like this. Some of the old fans will like this. I was watching Joker with none other than Mr. Trogges himself, Stephen L. Trogge.
Oh, you and Trogges had a hangout, baby.
We did.
That's
we
nice.
had a little hang. We watched Joker. I hadn't seen it yet, so
hey,
it's
can I ask?
A little tie into the Oscars. So.
Can I ask who initiated?
Believe it or not, it was Trogges.
Whoa, interesting.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Do you want to come watch this monumentally depressing movie with me?"
He was like, "Can I come over to your house to watch this monumentally depressing movie?" And I said, well, I go, Big M's going to be out of town. It's a great night for it, so come on down.
Now, baby, knowing the kinds of movies that you and I have enjoyed together in the past,
yes.
Knowing the Joker, did you enjoy the Joker?
You know, I mean, I enjoyed it for what it was. I mean, it was like this thing has sort of the brown, depressing tint of every great 70s movie ever made, since it's like kind of cast in the 70s. And
yeah, the kind of gritty, grimy.
Yeah, it's gritty and grimy, and it starts this downward slope, and it just keeps going down and down and down. So that was my expectation for it, and so for that, it was like, I mean, you know, it was brilliant in its own right, but I mean, it's not something I ever envisioned myself like sitting through again.
Yeah, I don't get the sense that it's a rewatcher in any way.
Yeah, I mean, that was Trogges' second watch, but I mean, that's how me and Trogges are a little bit different. But I mean, back to your Oscar thing, I mean, this is always subject, but I mean, I think Joaquin, or Joaquin, if you like to call him what I do, I think he, I mean, it feels like he deserved it. That was a pretty knockdown performance. I don't know if there's anything else to compare it to this year. So it was kind of like, all right, he won it. It's kind of crazy.
Dude, I watched for a few minutes. It's like the annual exercise in having like super rich, hot people tell us what to think about everything. And I don't know.
It's hard to stomach now, isn't it? This is what I feel like, boys. I feel like as I've gotten older, I literally almost can't tolerate it in some weird, unique way. It's like,
dude, I feel the same way. So we're on this like scale of, as our age increases, the Oscars get like way less fun, and I think it's quantifiably less fun, but it's also like we perceive it as less fun.
When it's not supposed to be fun. Like the Grammys are set up to be fun, you know. It's like it's lights, it's camera. I mean, it's like it's obnoxious, but at least it's fun. And the Oscars are self-important.
Yeah.
And you go on in life, and you're like, oh, this is a celebration of everything I don't care about. It's just
including getting a sermon from these people.
Yeah, that's what I care
about.
least about. I mean, first of all, it's the movies that are the most popular are never the ones that win awards. Which, having two children, I tend to see the popular movies, not any of the critically acclaimed ones. And so it's just a celebration of self-indulgent, self-important people wearing clothes that are unimaginably expensive, telling me what to think about stuff that I probably have. I either have an informed opinion or I just could not care less about. So yeah, the Oscars have no appeal for me whatsoever.
Boys, did you both see Once Upon a Time in Hollywood? Have we talked about that on the program?
I haven't seen it yet. I want to see it.
It was 2 weeks ago.
It was literally my favorite thing of maybe the last 5 years.
Wow.
I loved every second of it, and I watched it again immediately. I thought that should have won all the awards. And as far as I know, it didn't win. It hardly won any awards. I saw Brad get his Best Supporting Actor thing and give his impassioned sermon, which I don't know, man. Almost nothing can make me hate Brad. So, but that got close.
Mean, nothing was as incoherent as the Joaquin Phoenix.
Oh yeah, dude.
Oh my God.
I think he settled into like, I'm crazy Hollywood actor guy. I'm like this generation's Dennis Hopper.
He's the Tom York of Hollywood. I mean, it's just there's nothing else to say about it.
Tom York, so incoherent as to be deep. You mean?
Right, absolutely, the more incoherent he is, the more everybody just stands back in like awe of his.
Maybe has there ever? Yeah, go ahead.
Well,
I was going to ask you.
It's like the more like nonsensical he can be, it almost like creates him into. It just sort of like affirms him as being like, the quirkiest, but at the same time, most commercially viable, like artist in Hollywood. I mean, Joker it's the biggest grossing R-rated movie in, Hollywood history. So somehow Joaquin,
that's real.
Yeah, Joaquin actually he accomplished that. And it's a weird thing, man. It's really weird.
Baby, has there ever been a band that more people have pretended to like than Radiohead? I was having this conversation with a student the other day. On the pretending to like scale, I feel like they're on Mount Rushmore of bands that people have pretended to like.
Yeah, I mean,
right?
You just for sure. I mean, you basically need to like own their record collection. It's this in the same way that like everybody owned Dark Side of the Moon by Pink Floyd, even though the songs are just like they're not catchy, they're not really singable, but
they're boring.
It was like this recording masterpiece more than anything else for its era. And so it's something that and it was drug culture. And so it's something that you needed to own. You needed to be able to say you owned. You needed to be able to experience. It wasn't really liking it or not liking it is beside the point, right? And it's kind of probably like what we see in a guy like Joaquin. So.
Yeah. It's less about enjoyment and more about just kind of being a part of a cultural moment.
This is such a depressing conversation. It
really is.
Piper, what's the last thing you pretended to like? What's the last thing you faked it with?
Oh man,
because I faked it with Radiohead for like 5 years.
Let me think. I think I gave like pretentious movies about a half a semester run when I was a freshman in college.
There you go.
And
yeah, nicely done.
Let's see. Oh, and various theologians over the years. I've tried to pretend I can hack it in the theologian crowd. And I think intellectually I could probably do it, but I just get bored really fast. So,
Pipe, what do you mean? What do you mean? Like you've just tried to like read their material or hang out with them?
Just so
hang with people that love them, or what do you mean?
Yes, exactly. So like sitting at a table, you go to, pick your favorite Reformed conference and you sit down at a table and people begin talking about whatever the latest theological debate is, which is, for those who are not in that scene, it's not dissimilar from arguing about, like, I don't know, the latest album release or the latest, did you see what Richard Sherman said after the Super Bowl or whatever. It's just that, except in theology.
Well, you're making it sound really glamorous, man.
I know, it's a real thrill. And so, yeah, there was a stretch of time where I would sort of try to keep up with such things, and now I just... they're like, oh, did you read what so-and-so read? No, I don't even know who that is. I don't know who those people are anymore. Like, I know the Puritans because they've been around for a minute. And I'm familiar with N.T. Wright. And beyond that, you kind of lost me. So,
Pipe, I love how you went from the Puritans to N.T. Wright. It's like,
well, I gotta try to trigger everybody at once, So
there's the back catalog for Pipe right there.
We got the slave-owning Calvinists and we got N.T. Wright, and somebody's going to get mad at everybody. So, yeah.
Dude, speaking of, can I lay a thing on you, Piper, that might be a little awkward, but it's been a little awkward for me.
Go for it.
So I found myself like defending your dad lately on campus. Ooh, increasingly.
Fun. Whoa.
Because, you can set your watch by like Oh, okay. So there are certain disciplines in the academy that are just gonna crap on John Piper, I guess. And like sociology is probably one of them.
Yeah, women's studies.
Yeah, there's some gender and sexuality class that's getting all the like kind of the people group at Union that you can imagine getting riled up about that is getting riled up about it. And it's the kind of class you take to get riled up about, right? I mean, that's part of the fun of that class, and it's delivering. But of all the people they could go after, I feel like there's been a whole unit. We're going on like a week and a half now where they're going after your dad. And like all these kind of Union hipsters, they want me to pile on your dad. And I'm like, no, wait a minute. This is a good guy. He's done a lot of good things. So yeah, it's just put me in a weird position.
So I don't know. Is it his views on like women in the church, or well, I mean, he has said a lot about all things gender related over the years, but is it mostly that? I
think it's being an old white guy who said things about gender, but I also think it's just him saying
he should know
I'm a
better.
Complementarian out loud. Like, I think in 2020 that makes you the worst, and especially in a social class in 2020. Just literally saying I'm a complementarian. So,
here's the thing that people in the criticism crowd can never fathom. So I don't agree with everything my dad says about all things gender related, or really kind of all things in any category. We're not in 100% lockstep. My dad is one of the most respectful, gracious people to all genders. Yeah. And I've never seen him treat a woman with disrespect or disdain or look down on their opinions or anything. And that is unfathomable to people, because they hear complementarian and they just immediately jump to misogynist. And so, yeah, I don't know that there's any persuading people who dislike his viewpoint and then sort of caricature him and those with him. And there have been plenty of examples of terrible complementarian jerks who use that name and are actually misogynists. But yeah,
do you think it's more of your dad's association with some of the jerkier end of what you're describing that kind of puts him in that camp more than his own personal kind of like opinions and the way he's sort of lived it out, which would like put him sort of definitely in a different corner than those guys?
I think there's association. I think he's a bit of a complementarian OG, if you will, because he and Grudem wrote the big book, Recovering Biblical Manhood and Womanhood, whenever that was, like early 90s. But then there's also the fact that, as we've talked about ad nauseum on this podcast, the followers are always crazier than the leaders. So John Piper writes Recovering Biblical Manhood and Womanhood, and Mark Driscoll is verbally abusive, And so there's you get these crazy followers who then reflect very badly on the nuanced thought that came before them. And again, I don't agree with all of my dad's conclusions, especially when he takes complementarianism into the workplace outside of the church. And he's made statements about jobs he doesn't think should be for women, etc. I think he's logically consistent in how he makes his arguments, but I think he's just following the logic train down the wrong track.
Yeah, and having not sat in the class, that's probably what they're getting a lot of. But yeah, just kind of a weird moment.
But you do make a very good point in that he made the very, very tragic mistake of being an elderly white man speaking on gender, which is that's just an unforgivable sin. So
it really is, and that's
here we
problem.
And that's sort of almost elderly white men speaking about it.
Well, we're not speaking about it. We're speaking about somebody else speaking about it.
Right. So we're more commentating
about the speaking.
Yeah. We're talking about how we talk about.
Are you complementarian, or are you just a commentator on complementarians? I think that's what we're trying to get to.
That's the part I like to keep mysterious.
Right.
Boys, I hear an echo of myself. Do you hear that?
I did for a second. I don't anymore.
Yeah, strange. Well, we'll see what happens in post-production.
We'll hear if
spoilers.
Probably nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll hear if this podcast goes down in the annals of one of the worst or the worst thing that we've ever done.
Yeah, like I've enjoyed it so far. I mean, we're 14 minutes.
I'm having a good time.
Yeah, I'm having an okay time actually, and
if we can just get through 16 more minutes, Big T, can you just get us through?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. So here's what I'm going to do, baby. Okay, I'm going to take a little pause, and I'm going to promo a little thing I like to call Live in Midtown. Okay, if people have loved this energy, if they've loved the kind of magic that we brought to the airwaves this morning, they're going to love Live in Midtown.
Which will basically be like the Oscars without the tuxedos. It's just us telling you what to think about stuff and being very self-important.
It's really true. We're going to have our own speeches, too. We're going to have our own speeches.
It'll be much less attractive, much less rich people telling you what to think about everything.
We're going to be telling you what to think about Easter because it's Pipe's first Easter. So remember to include that in your promo, baby.
Baby's first Easter. It's going to be magical. So Piper, this comes on at the beginning or at the end of the other conference? I always forget. Which one is it?
It's the beginning. So normally you save the best to last. Not in this case. We are doing it right up front.
And Piper, where can people get tickets for this event?
If you go to happyrantpodcast.com, there's a big sort of orangey button right in the middle of the page that says order your tickets, or we put it in all of the show notes as well. So yeah, those are probably the easiest places. Just go to happyrantpodcast.com and you can find your way to Eventbrite where you can order your tickets.
Well, and I'm just gonna throw this in there. You might meet John Piper if you come to Live in Midtown because he showed up unannounced at our last live event. So
I think he only did that because it was my birthday. so
angry college students.
I mean, if it's not your birthday, he doesn't support you. What does it take to get JP back in the house?
Wouldn't he want to be there for your first Easter?
Absolutely.
He was there for all the previous Easters, so probably not.
The excitement's gone. The thrill is gone for him.
I mean, I realize I'm just ruining a selling point of this thing that John Piper might be there, but I feel like there should be truth in advertising here.
Can we book him like the way T4G books him? Can we book him for Live at Midtown? Can we hey, we want Johnny P to open us up in prayer or something like that.
Oh, I love
it. Give us a crash course on complementarianism, just something, right? Something to get him in there.
Either that or Romans 9. Which can we get from
Romans 9, right? Just launch us into something. Have him launch us into our first topic, even though we're not going to have that decided, earlier than a minute before we get up on stage, but let him present us with our first topic. I mean, what do we have to pay that brother to get him up there to do that, Pipe? That's my question.
See, here's the thing. He's not usually the problem. He has people who live to reject requests.
Yeah, but you have the in, Pipe.
No, I don't.
Blood. It's called blood and flesh.
So I have over the years tried to go through official channels to get my dad to various events, probably 5 to 7 times. The only time it worked was I got shot down by his people for the 7th time. And then I went to him and I said, hey, you're going to be in town at this point. Would you come speak at this event? Oh, and by the way, you get to see your grandkids since you're in town. And so it was just pure leverage bribery to get him to come speak for 40 minutes at this church leaders summit thing.
Nice.
Pipe, I'm trying to make this really simple. Don't go through his people. Send him a text as his son and say, hey, Pops, remember that last time you came to our event in Indy? Why don't you just come now in Midtown and open us up in prayer?
Because that would take half the show.
That's true. Yeah, Reform prayer is 25 minutes.
I don't want to give up an entire episode for a prayer, which sounds very sacrilegious, but it's the case.
Sold, boys. To be able to add Johnny P to Live at Midtown, man.
To the marquee.
That's true, and it's one episode we don't have to think about when we're scarfing Panera 15 minutes before the event. Now you guys are getting
where I'm going. Now you guys kind of get the sense of where I'm going with this.
You make it sound so glamorous, Piper, what we do.
Oh, sorry. I mean our pre-show banquet off-site. Yeah,
our pre-show banquet.
We're doing way better than Panera, boys. We're doing way better than Panera at Midtown, man. I'm telling you right now. I'm booking us at a nice place. We're going to have a nice dinner. It's going to cost a lot of money, but that's what we do.
We're going to pay $75 for a hamburger, and we're going to make $55 a piece on the night, and we're going to be down 20 by midnight.
100, man. Because you always double down, baby. That's what you do, and that's what we're going to do.
100. Yeah,
that's what we're going to do at our pre-dinner, pre-show prep dinner.
It's the cost
Double
of
Down.
fame,
I got a question for you, Double Down. How are we doing on getting you a little breakout sesh at the other conference? We've been working on that for a decade. Have we booked one yet?
T4G, that's never going to happen. I mean, dude, if Maddie Chan isn't even getting main stage anymore, how is Big R going to get a breakout?
Maybe I feel like you're networking with the right people. I think you're getting a lot of traction with you're working the right people right now.
Dude, what I'm doing is I'm still doing the C-level-ish, retreats and conference circuit. So like,
where are you going? Where's your next trip? Where are you leaving for tomorrow?
So I'm doing a little sojourn, kind of conferencing in Florida tomorrow for a couple of days. And then next week I'm doing a little church planter retreat speaking in beautiful Wisconsin. Greatest time of the year to hit Wisconsin.
February in Wisconsin.
It's beautiful.
Dude, since when has Sojourn cared about like spending money? They should. I feel like they went cheap on that one. That's not a Sojourn event.
No, that's not Sojourn. That would be my denom. So I got booked to do that through other channels. So
dude, is Sojourn owned by like Monsanto, some huge multinational like food corporation? Like, where does the money come from?
I mean, dude, like if you backed up far enough, you would.
They're owned by like Halliburton, like a defense contractor.
You would think it was owned by the SBC, like everything else in the world.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Like the guy behind the guy for everything in our tribe is SBC.
It's an SBC Monsanto production.
Pretty much, yeah. Like the SBC's in small print, right?
Monsanto bought like 20,000 warehouses 20 years ago, and now
exactly.
It's in the church planting business.
Yeah, they co-lease them to the SBC, who then like charges triple to give out to all of their affiliates. Yeah, I don't know.
You start getting into the business on these things, baby.
Exactly.
It's a little murky, but at any rate, Midtown. Live in Midtown. Is that what we're calling it? Midtown Live? You're the
Live in Midtown. Yeah.
Live in Midtown.
With possible Johnny P opening up with prayer.
Yeah. Johnny P opening for us. Exactly. What we've been building for.
Always meant to be that. It was always meant to be that.
And I suppose we should probably give the pertinent details that this is April 13th in Louisville, Kentucky at 7 p.m. Eastern time. So as you're putting it on your calendar, folks, those are the important details. Realizing that there's Midtown in a lot of places, we should probably clarify that.
That's true. They're going to be hipsters wandering around in Midtowns all over the country looking for our event that night.
There's Midtown Nashville. There's Midtown Manhattan.
Oh, exactly.
I don't know how big
Hundreds of people showing up to Midtown Manhattan thinking that's where we're going to be.
Dude, a bunch of people going, I can't find this Happy Rant Live
event.
Just
wandering around Manhattan. Guys,
I guess we'll do some hipster bowling or axe throwing or what else can we do? What other activity can we do?
I wonder if Sojourn Midtown would allow us to set up an axe throwing booth. Maybe we can get axe.
Maybe we could probably just go next door. I'm sure there's an axe throwing.
I was going to say, do we have to set it up or do they just have it in the basement?
I bet we have an axe throwing guy in our listenership somewhere. I bet we have a few.
We must.
Dude, is axe throwing the new escape rooms? Remember how that was a thing 5 or 6 years ago?
That's still a thing. No, that's still a thing.
Is it still a thing?
Oh, yeah.
Isn't it kind of like a pseudo-Christian thing? I feel like I always run into these Christian kind of pseudo-hipsters who are doing escape rooms.
I don't know. I don't know what kind of Christian connotation you could draw from it, but
I don't either. It's like a murder mystery, right?
I mean, even axe throwing for that matter. I don't know. What are we defeating Satan when we're throwing the axe?
Axe throwing for Jesus.
Axe throwing is a little depressing too, because it feels like people are just so hungry for an outlet to do anything that is that feels slightly masculine or slightly risky, or to use a bladed object with permission. Or something, and so they go pay tons of money.
Shaving every morning?
Yeah, or or I don't know, woodwork or something. I don't know, but there's it's a really, really weird thing that throwing hatchets at plywood became a trend.
It really is, dude.
Right.
I think it's safe to say none of us saw that coming. None of us thought, hey, in 10 years, I bet we'll be paying some bearded guy $20 to throw an axe at a wall.
I would have put my money on archery or something after the Hunger Games, but no.
Yeah.
Hatchet throwing. And they keep calling it axe throwing. Those are not axes. Those are hatchets. Axes are long. These are short. So, but it just sounds better to say axe throwing because it's tougher, I guess.
I feel like hatchet has Johnny Appleseed connotations.
Well, I mean, like Axe body spray is not really like coming out of an axe either. I mean, we don't have to be literal.
Hatchet body spray.
They should call it tomahawk throwing. That'd be way cooler.
Yeah, but that has like racist connotations now, Pipe. Now we got to apologize.
Dude, we sound like the Oscars right now.
Oh, sorry. White dude said something that has roots in a different language. My bad.
Yeah.
Ronald,
tomahawk is just a small axe.
Piper almost said the word manly, and we were ready to jump all over him for that.
You got
typical
correct.
Piper move. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree. I tell you,
baby. Our pre-show prep it's dwindled down to nothing, and we need to get back on it to talk about what's appropriate on this program. And I want to apologize to everybody for not doing a better job.
We're not putting the time in this week with the pre.
Whatever Joe Aquin said last night times 2, and that's how we feel about everything. Whatever.
I'm gonna ask, did he make some like coherent social statements last night, or did he just ramble to be the crazy artist?
What WWJD, man? What would Joe Quinn do?
I'm pretty sure he was telling us what to think about animal rights. Is what I gathered from the recap this morning. I watched 0 seconds of the Oscars, but I did see some headlines. So
he was saying when we drink milk from a cow, somehow brown cow, we're not doing right for the cow when we drink their milk. Is what he was saying. I
kind of love when they take the pivot into animal rights, because that's the most. That's where it gets the most fun to me. I don't know. So to tip of the cap, Joaquin.
As they're all like macking on burgers at the after show.
Like $1 billion worth of Monsanto food being like served at the after show parties.
Yeah, maybe $1 million gift baskets that they always
right.
But the track that he's on, the next acceptance speech he gives is going to be talking about how like we cause pain to cucumbers when we slice them or something like that. I mean, he's really on a roll. He's going.
Yeah,
for it.
Where do you like? Where does that ball of string unravel? What's the end of that one?
I mean, I think it's unraveled. I mean, I think that's the thing with. I think that's
all the way done.
Well, because like so like I pick up on these cues, which I think are so fascinating, right? He's like he stands up there and his head is down, like he's not like some professional speaker where he's rehearsed this. Like he's awkward, like he's a weird, quirky dude, and he's up there, and you're like, wow, man, like that's just kind of like. He's not real slick, in the way that he presents everything. And you kind of go, oh, well, that gives it even like that's going to even give it more like authenticity for so many people that he's not, he's wearing the tux, but like at the same time, like he's kind of fumbling over his words and he's looking down. He's not meeting anybody in the eye. He's like,
maybe he's an artiste.
He's an artiste. Absolutely.
I mean,
brother of River.
Yeah. That's right. I like Joaquin. I like him as an actor. I also like Redbud coffee. Everybody drink Redbud coffee. It's the official coffee drink of the Happy Rant podcast. It has fueled the radio magic that we have made this morning. Redbudcoffee.com. Piper, is that the URL?
Yep, and if you use the code HAPPYRANT at checkout, you'll get a 10% discount off your whole purchase, just across the board. So you can order one bag of coffee, or I was looking at some of their coffees. They sell like 30-pound bags of coffee or something. Like they're enormous. So if you are
wow,
if you are a major consumer of coffee, you can get very large ones and still get the 10% discount. Just use the code HAPPYRANT as one word. So that's the special offer.
You know what Ronald and I talked about last week? It's a health-related item, and I want to get your input on it because I had this thought.
I love health-related items with middle-aged white guys. Let's go.
Well, dude, I had this thought sitting in a coffee shop surrounded by other hipsters, and I was like, okay, so if these people drink craft coffee from like 8 a.m. to 6 p.m., at which point they immediately switch to like hoppy IPAs, aren't their organs going to like just shrivel up from dehydration? Are we worried about the hydration kind of status?
Oh no, because what you don't realize is that in their Saddleback satchels, they also have a Hydroflask. Or some of the more redneck ones will carry a Yeti, but it's really like Hydroflask or something like that. Nalgene's for the old school folks like me. So no, they're always carrying a reusable water bottle of some kind to stay hydrated. The question is, how do they not pee 84 times a day?
They do.
That's true.
Okay.
I feel like it's become a kidney kind of hazard at this point. I'm no doctor. I mean,
and not that we're super concerned either. Let's qualify.
Yeah, not that I care
This is
at
more
all.
curiosity rather than concern.
Yeah. It just seems like they would be kind of perpetually dehydrated, and it was a point of interest to me.
It was a point of interest. And boys, hold on, before you go on, Big T, I want to repent of something because I
lay it on me.
Well, I said something earlier in the cast where I said this was going to be one of the worst things we've ever done, but I totally have changed my view on it because I think what we're delivering to our fans right now is a money podcast.
Yeah, baby, it's sweet of you to say. I appreciate that.
My favorite is when we evaluate our podcast mid-show.
Exactly. You know what? This is great. We're doing a great job.
We're
fantastic. Nobody said anything about this being mid-show, Pipe. This is clearly end of show.
We got another half hour to go, boys. Buckle up. Actually, I want to ask one more hard-hitting radio question to Ronald, and then I want to get our Dwell Bible promo from you, Pipe, and then we will close the show. But the hard-hitting radio question is this: we kind of wandered to and fro throughout the axe throwing conversation. Everybody was having their ha-has about it. Ronald, I want to know from you, candidly, how many times you've been axe throwing, because I'm guessing it's on the itinerary at a lot of these retreats that you do.
Yeah. So okay, I can give you.
How many times have we done it?
I've only done it literally one time, and it was in 2018 at a men's retreat that our church did.
Okay.
Like we found like this men's camp that did axe throwing. You know, it also provided like hatchet body spray for all the men, and so it like provided it for like the actual retreat. So I did it for the first time. I did it, and it was I mean, you know, I'm not much given to masculine sort of like activities, you know, but it was it was life affirming. What can I say, you know? I actually hit a couple of bullseyes, you know, after a few attempts. And
not that we think in those kind of prosaic categories.
Not that we think in those kind of right, exactly. But I'll tell you what it did, boys. As the pastor, you know, presiding over the weekend's activities, I think it kind of shed me in a new light to a lot of the fellas that just look at me as being like this arty speaker, you know, musician, whatever they view me as. Right.
Guy who's always traveling and not there.
Exactly.
The absentee father figure.
Yeah, I appreciate. Thanks, Pipe. I appreciate that. That's a great descriptor.
Was this event called the Strongish Men's Conference?
Absolutely.
Okay, the weak men's conference.
Yeah, it was more of the weak. We just do the weak men's conference. We go anti. Yeah.
The dehydrated men's conference, dude. No, like to that though. There's a church in our area, and if I had to describe the church as a jacket, it would be a North Face jacket. So it's not like the old money affluent mega church in our town. It's kind of the like bearded North Facey, like not hipster, but kind of like 38-year-old preppy church in our town.
Well, there's a difference between that and the Patagonia jacket church too, which is that's a slightly different demographic, definitely a little bit wealthier. So
yeah,
right. So these people are loaded, and it's kind of they got a really classy building, you know, the whole deal. But they're putting on one of these like knife throwing, blow stuff up on stage. It's a thing called the Wheel of Destruction, and it's supposed to be this father son event. You're supposed
what
to
could be more Christian than that, Big T?
Well, of course, yeah. I mean, you just parse that theologically, but yeah, the promo said you're supposed to like take your son to it, and it'll make your relationship closer. The Wheel.
Are you going to go? Are you going to bring the boys? I mean,
no.
What are we talking about?
If you survive, you'll be super close.
Right. I was never that guy though that like, and this gets back to kind of the point you were making, Big R. Like even growing up as a kid, like I never wanted to light off like M80s and blow stuff up. I just wasn't that guy. So yeah, I think I can safely say that like the Wheel of Destruction is not for me.
Yeah, I wouldn't be a fan. I've never been a fan of fire. So
yeah, I'm not a fire guy.
I was absolutely that guy, but then I grew up.
Right, you're no longer 12.
Right, like thing. I look back on it, I'm like, I did some really crazy dumb stuff when I was like 14. You know,
right.
And also just didn't have a great sense of how much destruction I had the capability of causing. And whereas now I'm like, oh, that was foolish, and also really loud.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like it's going to be a loud event. I'm not crazy about that.
They should ask you to speak at it in between all the explosions.
Yeah. I don't think so. I don't think that's going to be a thing.
Wheel of Destruction. Does this thing have a website?
I don't know. Somebody screenshotted it and sent it over. So I'll see if I can pull it out of the text exchange.
That's the best event name I've heard in a hot minute. That's fantastic.
Wheel of Destruction, Christian event. Go celebrate Jesus. While
I would have guessed that was like a CBS reality game show that would last about 4 episodes, hosted by I don't know, like some washed up backup defensive tackle. And
it's like what Fear Factor became.
Yeah,
basically.
Like Tony Siragusa presents the Wheel of Destruction.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Piper, what's not a bad washed up product is Dwell Bible. It's a product that I dare say after this program we all probably need to use it a little bit to put our days back on track. I know I do. Why don't you tell us about Dwell Bible?
Yeah, I'm going to try to say some nicer things than not a bad washed up product. So Dwell Bible is a audio Bible app for you listeners who are newish or who just have heard me say this 25 times and have yet to go try it. That's on you. So if you can download it in the App Store, or you can go to dwellapp.io/happyrant. We have a 33% discount to the subscription for anybody who goes to that link. So share it around to all your friends, family, coworkers. I gave access to a whole bunch of the church staff at my church a few weeks ago. There are listening plans, so you can go through books of the Bible, the whole Bible in a year. There are all sorts of different features to help with memorization and study. There's multiple narrators. There's musical backgrounds. And then one of the best aspects of it is that they're persistently upgrading it. So if you subscribe for a year or for life or whatever it is you choose to do, you're not just sort of getting a stagnant thing, but an ongoing upgrade with additional features, additional narrators, additional plans rolling out constantly. So again, go to dwellapp.io/happyrant. Check that out. Get your 33% discount. It's less than $20 a year, so really affordable and well worth it. So go check that out.
Piper, nicely done as always. Boys, we've done what we always do in this program, in that we've wandered to and fro throughout whatever it is that we've wanted to talk about for 36 minutes, and I dare say it went better than expected. What's your assessment? Let's self-evaluate here. Let's do a little self-study. Pipe, how do you think we did this morning?
I would say it exceeded the expectations that I didn't have.
Yeah, I think that's well said. Ronald?
Yeah, I thought it was aces, man. I think it's a solid 6 to 7 out of 10, no doubt.
Yeah, I agree. I was going to go there. 70, 75%. We did a lot with a little, I think. And
we're minimalists, and we turned it into something beautiful, right?
We did.
Had just a little flour and a little sugar, and we baked a beautifully delicious cake out of that.
Yeah, it's like one of those cooking shows where they're like, here's your 4 random ingredients, and you don't know what they are, and then you have 30 minutes to make something edible out of it. I feel like we made something decidedly edible.
Like Chopped.
Great British Baking Show, Pipe, just in case you didn't realize.
Baby, remember when we were super into Chopped like a decade ago, and we would text each other during it? Yeah.
I don't have the patience for that show anymore. I've moved all of my cooking show stuff over to Great British. I mean, obviously.
I don't feel like that show required a lot of patience. Did it?
I don't know, man.
What was the part that
I think
you got trouble with?
Tolerating it?
I just got tired of the routine. You know what I mean? I got tired of the rhythm of it, and it was like, all right, I'm done. You know what I mean? I'd be like 10 minutes into it. I'm like, I'm just cook something. I'm done.
Now it's more charming with British people doing it.
Absolutely.
All under that one tent. I kind of like that too.
I love it, man. I love it.
Yeah. Just a nice program.
Hey, by the way, remind everybody that we expect some Easter egg baskets at Live in Midtown.
Easter baskets at Live in Midtown. I want football stuff in mine. I forgot what you guys want. Tell them.
I need the most traditional Easter baskets possible because I've never gotten one in my life, and so
for sure.
I need
listeners.
I need these wonderful people who love all things Easter to just put together the quintessential Easter basket.
Plastic green grass, all of the chocolate football looking candies.
Yeah, you guys know better. You guys know better than I do what's supposed to be in these things. I feel like there's rabbits and eggs involved, but I don't really totally know.
I feel like if my parents are feeling really awesome, I would get a CD in my Easter basket too.
Dude, no kidding. Wow.
Yeah, dude. So maybe
dude, that's next level.
It is next level. I had cool parents. What can I say?
You want CDs? I want vinyls. I want a more expensive basket. I'm just throwing it out there to my listeners.
Of course you do.
I want to.
Monsanto, if you're listening, let's get Ronald a really
well.
nice
I mean, I'm not going to be opposed to vinyls, saddleback leather goods, or things of that nature.
Yeah, just a small $800 investment in Ronald's Easter
basket. You saying that for some of our listeners, that'll just be like dropping, a $20 bill? It's all relative.
It's a drop in the bucket. Do you think we have an affluent listenership? Is that what you're saying?
I mean, we don't know who we have. I would say that, some of them have to be on the higher end of the scale, right? And now that we're inviting Johnny P in to open up with prayer, the sky's the limit in terms of who's going to show up to this event.
Well,
now.
No. If we're inviting Johnny P to open up with prayer, you can be sure that the rich people will not come.
That's true.
Nobody makes people feel worse about being rich. Well, maybe Francis Chan, but John Piper's right there.
Hey, here's the new promo. Are you ready, boys? Come to Live in Midtown, opened by Andy Stanley.
There we go.
Man, that'll be Saddleback Easter egg.
It's going to be raining Saddleback. Everybody. Or how about this one? Come to Live in Midtown, opened by Dave Ramsey. Nobody makes you feel greater about being rich than the Davester.
As long as they bring me cash
just falling from the sky, man.
Dude, we're going to be lighting cigars with $100 bills in the green room if Dave comes.
And there might even be a silent disco.
Oh, I love it. Boys, let's end with that imagery. This has been the Happy Rant podcast, where we wander to and fro throughout various topics. And until next time.
The Happy Rant is brought to you by Resonate Recordings. If you go to resonaterecordings.com, you can see the full range of services they offer. So if you're considering starting a podcast, they are the ones we recommend going with. Again, go to resonaterecordings.com to see their prices, to connect with them and ask any questions, and to see what they can do to help you launch, edit, master, and improve your podcast. Again, go to resonaterecordings.com to see what they can do to help you launch and improve your podcast.